Alrighty, hello, and welcome back to some good old art, I guess, drawing and such. Everyone's had a good day so far. Hope everyone's having a good one. Oh. While I, collect my thoughts, because I was very quickly sketching something to try and get into... I think I've talked about this before, right? But before the art streams, I try and sit down for at least 10 minutes or so before the stream starts and quickly do some sketches to warm up, in a sense. Because when I've not done that, I tend to see a poorer quality of stuff because it's me trying to do warm-up during stream. Now, it's always the funny thing of what did I do for warm-up. Most of the time, it ends up being the thing we're drawing for the day. Obviously, we're continuing on a lot with the design here that we were experimenting with over the last stream in a bit. Hey, Anya, how's it going? But yeah, because we're still experimenting with this, I had to do something different. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna show it, because it's really funny to me. It's really funny that this has become, how do I get into the energy and mode of anatomy? Well, you see, anyway, what would you do if there was a child right in front of you? I don't know, it depends how long the day's been. Somewhat tired after work, Friday be hard. Friday is definitely the day that feels the hardest to get through sometimes. Friend was waiting to finish a Civ 7 game? Jesus. It do be like that though. I mean, that's the pain of working adults right there. Is you wanna play certain games, but God, it takes so long to play. And you're oh God, I'm gonna be arsed. Civ is a great... Civ's a great example of that. You can't really finish that game in less than 10 hours. A game. Unless you just give up and don't want to end it, which is very fair. There's a reason why that game became, very jokingly the famous game for, oh, I'll play Civ to relax in the afternoon. Why is it 7 AM the next day? It's about to get eradicated from the game. Okay, I'll admit that definitely lowers my desire to play a game if I know I'm going back to just be removed. There's a reason why me and my friends, when we played strategy games, which again, wasn't very often because I was really good at them and they didn't like playing with me. But there's a reason why, when a certain set of things have kind of occurred, we're cool, we're just gonna call the game. Can't be arsed. It's just playing out the finicky, tiny details, and at this point in time, it's just slow. Everyone's lost, aside from one player. Let's just, fucking quit and not play and move on to a different game. Just take one city and then I help them attack the third player with a sneak attack through my territory. I mean, that works. Can't you just trade the city though? Or are you trying not to do a peace broker deal so you can make it even more of a sneak attack? Is that the idea? That's exactly the idea? Ah. Is there any massive changes I want to do to this? Now that I've had some time to, like, dwell on it. Outside of, obviously, the coloring being, like, just wrong in some areas and it looking very sketchy still. I need to trust the dude that has a fucking army in my door. Yeah. You basically have to go, like, I want you to come through my territory. Don't kill me while you're doing it. You probably can. Yeah, I feel like I should just do a cleanup at this point on this design. So let's remove the color for now. We're in full science mode. To be fair, I haven't played Civ 7. I played a little bit of 6. And I mainly have played 5 in my time. 5 was probably the most Civ I've ever played. Yeah, it's because of the way that we've done the horns and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Because technically we have that bit as well. Alright, let's try doing a slightly cleaned up expression. Basically, I have no army whatsoever. So, yeah, that's something that I understand is the mistake that at least I saw a lot of people make back when I played. One of my favorite factions to play in Civ 5 was Korea. Because it's like whenever you build a wonder, you get a massive science boost or something like that. Or a science wonder is when you do it, or a science building. You get a boost to science. So what the idea I tended to like use as my heralding point is to always have like a standing army. That was always one of the most important things to do. I know in Civ 7 you can actually specialize a lot more stuff. So it's have one like town specialized for military. I'd known that it was turn-based and not real-time. It's a 4X game. Very few 4X games are real-time. That's in fact part of the point of 4X games. What? So even if you do simultaneous turns, which is what we used to do in like earlier games again, at least, like it still turns. There's no such like thing of real-time strategy. Same with like Endless Legend and fucking, like, Age of Wonders 4, fucking that game's great. I thought for a long time that Civ was closer to an RTS. It's, like, one of the furthest from it, but sure, okay, yeah, I get that. It's always been the leading 4x turn-based. That's why I'm so confused by that, because it's, like, the most advertised part of it, in my eyes. But I understand that, like, obviously, not everyone's gonna be into the same things I was, so I was into both RTS and, like, slow turn-based strategy games. I played a lot of Civ. Civ 5 I have fucking hundreds, maybe thousands of hours in. Endless Legend I have a lot of hours in as well. Stellaris I have a few hours in. A lot of Endless games I tend to have a lot of hours in, though. Change all that stuff. Yeah, and I lived and breathed StarCraft and shit, right? Like, clearly I'm the wrong person to be asking. On how well advertised that information was. Let's see, a little bit of thing, but I liked to build and not rush people like people doing StarCraft. Yeah, I understand that. Again, it's the difference between the competitive player versus the player that wants to, like, play around with their faction. Like, the amount of people I knew that played StarCraft and was like, I want to build the strongest thing that the faction has. And I'm like, that's all well and good, but just don't go onto the ranked ladder. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, you're not going to enjoy the game. Because I can end a game in potentially less than a minute, or I could end a game in, like, 2 hours. And it is purely down to what faction you're fighting, how good the other player is, and the decisions made during the game as to what will probably end up being the case. I like the flow of Civ. Look up 4x strategy games, then. Yeah, like, I cannot stress to you enough, go look up some 4x games. Civ has become one of the worst ones in recent times. Civ 7 is probably one of their worst games that they've made. And this is actually, like, kind of an objective opinion now. Look up stuff like Endless Legend. Specifically the brand new one they've done. It's still in, like, an early stage of the game, but it is one of the best strategy games I've ever played. 4X games. Age of Wonders 4, I can't per se recommend purely because of the price tag the game has. Kind of has the same issue Stellaris has, if we go look. Where Age of Wonders 4, right? You're probably already kind of telling from this, but so this game is actually a few years old now. It's nearly 3 years old. It is an $80 game. And if you actually want to play with the DLC, which, trust me, the DLC makes a massive, massive difference, you're looking at a few $100s. It's not a cheap game, and it keeps getting really great DLC for it that just keeps being the same price as a full game of like $30, $40, which makes it quite a hard game to want to get into, but God, it's worth it if you can. To give an idea, so this game is basically kind of your Civ game, except you actually have your hero that you design, potentially, on the battlefield earning experience and fighting, or not fighting if you don't want them to. But you can go do little mini quests with them, which is pretty good to do. And in some of the recent expansions, quotation mark recent, one of them is, you can be an eldritch horror. Like, that's not a joke, by the way. Like, no, straight up, that is your hero unit. You can open eldritch portals. You can aim to mind break the shit out of them and end the world. Yeah, the most recent one they did, which I think is probably the most fun they did, was the vampires one, where you become a vampire lord, and basically all of your heroes can be, like, all your heroes are vampires, and they give you, the lord, more experience, and it's all about spreading your darkness across the world, and having basically a Castlevania-esque castle. I wish I was kidding with that. It's not a joke. That is your home base. It's pretty good. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's great. But, like, that's why I say, like, Civ's one of the, like, less interesting ones now, because it gives you less information. It's harder to get into, because it doesn't really well inform the player of all of the things that are going on. And I'm gonna be honest, the end of the game gameplay loop is considered one of the worst that Civ has ever accomplished. The final age is just garbage. Was it Modern Age? Modern Age is just considered boring. Which is why I didn't pick up the game, and I just kind of don't want to. I haven't paid the final age yet. Think of it like this, is what I mean by that is, like, how do you find out about some of the unique buildings? You just kind of have to go through a wiki page inside of the game. They didn't, like, a lot of information as well of, like, how much terrain, like, certain improvements you have is not made available, which is what other games do. Like, this is where it's like, okay, by comparison, it looks worse. Think of it like this. There are improvements in the game that say, hey, for X amount of, like, desert tiles you have that are worked on or whatever, you get these bonuses. In almost every other game I've listed, they'll fucking tell you how many you have. If you want to find out in Civ to make this decision better, you have to go count. Now, you could make an argument that's not too bad of a thing, but it's what I mean by, like, barrier to entry knowledge checks. Is if you're not, like, actively paying attention to that, you actually might lose out on value sometimes. And also, fun fact, the tiles don't even actually fucking tell you what the final result is that they give you a lot of the time as well. It's actually incorrect to tell, like, the yields that it tells you. In Civ 7, especially. In most of the Civ games, this was kind of an issue. In Civ 7, it got worse. So it's not great for that. That's what I mean by, like, it's not as welcoming to a newer player as others of these would be, as like a lot of the time they'll like highlight things, they'll give that information a little bit more easily understandable, that sort of stuff. More tiles, the previous showed, is an info worthy in it? Yeah, so it's like, it's a game that actively doesn't inform the player of the actions that they're taking, a lot of the time. Which is where it comes to an argument of how is... Now you're seeing what I mean by, like, that's not great for a new player. A new player is not going to be able to understand the actions they're taking and the value at which they are done, potentially. Now, again, I have heard people like come back at me with very much like the yellow paint argument on that, where it's like, hey, this is not necessary to play the game, especially if you play more of it and you understand the things you're doing. It's not an issue. It's like, yes, and exactly that is what I'm talking about. If you play the game a lot, you'll come to understand things, but like, a new player is going to get more often overwhelmed or more often not know things. Like, miss things, like, not make actions, and I'm going to be honest, the worse actions you make early game, the more it influences your late game. Because, like, one of the things you need to do, pretty much immediately as a priority, is decide how many of which points you want to go after and what categories. Do you want economic points? Do you want those in the early stages of the game so you can set up correctly for the next stage and then the next stage? And that's not great to do. So I would definitely, if I was to bring a new player into the Civ franchise, it would not be the game I would choose most of the time. I mean, the fact that people still play a shitload of Civ 5 tells you a lot about that game. Civ 6 has like arguably better, Civ 7 has arguably better graphics. The cities kinda look shit, I'll be honest, still in it. They don't feel like they're the same charm as the other stuff. It really feels very encroaching on nature. Civ 6 was a massive push in a direction I still don't know if I was happy with, but I know a lot of people didn't mind it. So that's one of those ones where I'm like, I accept that I'm probably different in that opinion, but the overwhelming response I have seen from most of the people that I would follow for it didn't like Civ 6. Civ 7, sorry. It felt like a massive downgrade on the franchise. Yeah, like that's the thing, is like the difference there is you're playing with friends, so a game can inherently be better. So please also kind of in a sense disregard what I'm saying when you're playing with friends. Because there's also the valid argument, and I've made this argument before as well. I have played games that are actively shit, like Siege, that I would never play on my own. But I played it because I was playing it with friends. And God, that was fun. But I played that game separate to my friends, and fuck, it was awful. So, at the end of the day, like, that's a very valid point to put forward of, like, who are you playing with? Just look at Russian Badger even admits to this many times in his videos, for example. It's like, I played this game, everyone says it's bad, I had a lot of fun, but it's because I played with friends. And at least it's like an acknowledgement of, this game could be shit, I had fun. And at the end of the day, that's all that really, truly matters. Games like online Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I don't tend to play anything that's got multiplayer in it most of the time. Nowadays, I tend to play a lot of single-player games, just because I used to be an extremely competitive person. I have Magic as an outlet for being able to do that in real life with people I know. I don't tend to go to the LGSs as much anymore, just because we have boys' nights. In fact, I believe we have a boys' night maybe tonight. It depends if one of the people is still sick or not. Which I'll be excited for because I get to play the 4 new decks that I have. Or one of the 4 new, some of the 4 new decks that I've made. Like, I've considered going and playing some Rivals. I've been tempted to, but I know that if I start playing Rivals, I'm gonna get competitive again, and I kind of don't want to do that because League. I think League was my last competitive push for a game. I got very good at that game, or I'd like to say I'm very good at the game, but I don't want to play it anymore. Spotted my eggs from 5 years ago now, working at the card shop I go to. I mean, that's definitely one of those ones where it is fully down to how that ended or how mature both of you are now, whether or not that matters, but I understand that that's definitely like, sort of thing. Like, don't get me wrong, if I saw, like, my ex-fiancée, anywhere, I'll just avoid the place. Like the fucking plague. And I fully accept that you could make an argument, oh, but isn't that exactly against what you just said? Like, yeah, it is. But also, fuck you, that's... If it ended badly, it ended badly. Which is why I say, like, it's fully on how it ended and how you guys are now. If it ended poorly, then yeah, it's not really any help in that. Edge of a Falcon Punch is high. Yeah, so that tells me it didn't end too well. So, yeah, that's understandable that that's a bit of a no zone. Learn to deal with it and just ignore her whenever I randomly encounter her. Yeah. I mean, I've had to see people that I've really not wanted to see while having moved back here to my old town, my old city. And I've talked before about like how it is very difficult when seeing some of those people. And I didn't take it well initially, and I'm getting better at it. I've gotten to the point where I'll see them on the street and I'll just walk past them, and it's not too bad. It's very clear that they now don't want to interact with me. I'm glad on that. Though, to be fair, one of them I did see the other day, and it made me somewhat feel a little bit better about myself, because it looks like they're a hooker now, so, you know. It's just part of us, yeah. No, there's some things that you just can't. Again, it is fully acceptable to always harbor poor feelings for a person. It is not acceptable for those feelings to rule you. That's what I've kind of come to conclude. I try and make an effort to, like, okay, I want to stress, right? So again, I'm coming from a situation that's a bit really weird to talk about on this, because again, it's ex-fiance, together for a number of years. That relationship ended extremely badly, and then a lot of things went wrong afterwards as well. I have come to the point where I per se forgive that, like, the actions they took were the actions they thought were best. Do I ever want to interact or see that person again? No. I'm quite content to live the rest of my life never interacting with that person again and letting them live their own life, independent of mine. If they ever want to interact again, I will let them, if they want to say, like, the conclusion I've given is, like, if they ever say, reached out to me in a way that they could even contact me, because I've blocked them in every possible way, but if they tried to reach out to me and go like, hey, I want to apologize, I'd say, sure, I'll let you apologize, because that's, and we'll do the apology, I'll say fucking nothing, I'll let them apologize, and I'll go, cool, you've now done your apology to make yourself feel better, I'm gonna leave. I've accepted that, like, I'll do that, and that is the most I will interact with that person. Because again, I've talked before about what happened, I'm not going to talk to what happened. It's not a pleasant story, so I don't really want a sympathy bait. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, again, like, I think it's fully acceptable to feel some satisfaction in that situation, though. Yeah, like, again, this is something I kind of processed a lot, is, like, it's okay to feel like an asshole thinking about some of these things, but also to acknowledge, like, no, it's okay to feel this thing, though. Like, that's what I mean by, like, I love hearing... Okay, I don't love hearing, I want to rephrase that. I've talked before how I used to give a lot of advice to people in my life. I still do, obviously. But, like, I used to give a lot of advice to people, right? And something I'm going to say, and I know how this is going to sound, but a lot of the time, when I give advice, I don't give advice lightly. I give advice that's, like, as I've thought it through as best I could. I've made the effort to accommodate it to your situation or your problem, and help you with it. Now, I'm not saying my advice is 100% gospel you should take. However, the vast majority of times, in my experience, as people followed the advice I gave them, things were better. When they didn't, this is where the situation of where we're getting to. I have heard many a times now where, like, I've heard about an old friend of mine that I gave advice, don't do this thing, and now I've heard in the more recent time, oh yeah, they're in jail, and I'm like, it's really hard not to laugh. And I hear why they're in jail, and I'm like, that's really funny. It's almost like you could have avoided that by listening to the advice I'd given you. Damn. Anyway, that's your problem now, not mine. But that's what I mean by, like, I try and be very careful with the advice I give, for that kind of rationale is, like, now that I've got that more of it, in a sense, an ego towards, like, oh, the advice I give has, like, been avoided and people have had worse lives because of it, I'm like, cool. I need to be careful with the advice I give. So I give a lot more loose advice now. And again, a lot of the advice I tend to give people is from fucking life experience. So it's one of those things of actually listening to the people around you might be worth it. There's a couple of people I would like to actually get back into contact with because I've heard they've had troubles, and I'm like, God, I know exactly what you're going through, and I have things that would help you, but also the problem is, would you be willing to listen? Because I mean this with the utmost love of things, I'm also bad for this. When you're in a bad situation, if it's a certain way or anything, you're not gonna see what people are actually saying. Like, you're not gonna actually listen to it correctly, and you're going to hear things you don't want to hear. And you're not gonna think they're the right things to hear, and you're going to think, no, I know better. I'm gonna be very careful on this one because this is a bit of information that I'm not technically supposed to know. It is shared with me in good faith, so I'm not gonna say, like, names. But I have a friend that's gone through a pretty bad breakup recently, and one of my things that I have said to the person asking for advice on how to talk with them is I've said the problem the person has is they're going through, and later in life, an issue that we should have gone through in, like, I'd gone through in, like, primary school. It is an issue you're gonna have to go through, and it is how it goes. It's like, oh, this was the one for me, this is the only person I could ever love, and all that stuff. It's like, no, that's not how that works. If that is the case, then you're gonna have to find a way to live. Because if you can't live a life without another person as a dependency, you're probably not living a great life, I'm gonna be honest. The quality of your life is probably quite shit. Because that's the experience I've had from first hand and second hand and third hand. Is the more reliant you are on another person for your happiness to exist, the less happy you actually probably are. Now, don't get me wrong. You can be in a relationship and the relationship genuinely improve your life, and you feel happier and better, but there needs to be an acknowledgement that if you aren't capable of being happy and enjoying yourself alone, or being somewhat stable yourself alone, you've got a dependency there, and that can be dangerous, because what happens when it does go wrong? Now, I'm not saying it always will. That's the other thing I need to stress, because a lot of people I know have been in relationships for long periods of time, and it's fine. But, like, one of the issues I saw, with that sort of stuff is that what happens when they come against a problem, right? Now, this seems like a really weird question to ask, but what happens when you and your partner have a problem and that's your relationship? Well, now you're about to see how the power balance works. Now you're about to actually see in real time how that relationship works, because a relationship is best defined by how you handle confrontation. In my experience, the more placid a relationship is, the worse they handle those situations and the more fallout happens from them. That was the mistake I made in my last relationship, is that it was just a generally nice, good relationship. We didn't have issues, and then we had issues, and issues were bad and big, and they caused mass-scale problems. Then, when an issue was really large, we couldn't handle it. And it left me in a situation where I was actively harmed because of it. And the other person didn't know what to really do in response. And that left me hurt. And that's what I mean by, that's how that goes. In fact, I will stand by one of the best examples, and this is actually one of the guys that went into jail. I told him he needs to not try and rely on relationships to live, because he is actively less happy when he's in a relationship. However, he refuses to accept that. He says exactly the opposite. I am more happy when I'm in a relationship with another person. I'm like, no, you're not. I live with you. I can see the difference. You're actively more miserable when you're in a relationship than you are when you're not in one. Which tells me you really don't care about yourself enough, which is going to cause problems in relationships. This is actually one of the issues I have, personally, is I don't care enough about myself. I actively take actions that jeopardize my life and fucking all that. I mean, I fucking ended up in hospital earlier this week. The value I have for my own life is far lower than it probably should be. Thankfully, I got, before I got harmed. I mean, I would argue anything, any emotional pain is harm. And it sounds like you did, get harmed, so don't undersell the pain. I got harmed financially. That was my issue, and that kind of led to a lot of physical harm as well. And that's why I say, that's still harm. Don't try and undersell it just because, what you're hearing sounds worse to you than what you felt like you went through. Don't sell yourself short. My pain is not your pain, and your pain is not my pain. I can't say mine's more or less than yours. So don't do the inverse. I've gone through a lot of work to get over a lot of that situation, and I'm still not over a lot of it, admittedly. But, I'm not fucking up myself enough to say, oh, I'm fine now. I still have nights where I cry myself to sleep. But, nonetheless, yeah. Irreversibly, pain is technically also harm, but that wasn't what I mean. Okay, that makes sense. That's why I say, I wouldn't consider harm irreversible. I mean, think of it like this. Pain that you received is going to change your perspective permanently on a situation. Now, are you going to avoid relationships for the rest of your life? Maybe? I'm not gonna try and put forward whether or not you will. But I would like to hazard to say probably not, right? And that's not to say that there wasn't a substantial amount of pain in the situation. That's not to, like, undervalue any of that. That's how it is. It's also, again, one of the other arguments I could make is it might be so insane what's happened from it that you don't even understand quite how much pain and damage has been done. That happens. Again, that's another thing that I've seen people is they, stuff happens and they're like, nah, it's fine, and they aren't fine. And that's why I make an effort to acknowledge I'm not fine, because I don't want to give, like, the false illusion everything's deja vu, as the meme goes, right? Because that's just lying, not to everyone else, but to yourself. It's depreciating the pain you go through. You are allowed to feel pain. You're allowed to feel upset. You're allowed to feel angry. You're not allowed to be violent. That's against the law. But it's okay to feel things. Do not think it's not okay. And that was something that I was very slow to understand. Is I had spent so much of my life with behavioral problems, I guess, in a sense, and a lot of things, that I was told, angry is not okay. You're not allowed to be angry. So I had to try and be peaceful. I had to try and be all these things. And then I finally get to all of this going wrong, and I come to the, like, understanding it at a better capacity. It's okay to feel things. You are human. You're allowed to. It is not okay to be violent, but it is okay to be angry. In the IT world, there aren't many opportunities. Yeah. We're all fucking nerds and we're all introverts. Doesn't work really well. Made up the fact that there are some ways to have deep relationships than romantic ones. That's also another important thing to acknowledge is, like I've talked before, I have a friend that, jokingly, and he even laughs at this still, like he proposed to me once. And partly again, I want to stress, the proposing that he did, it was purely so, like, we were sitting there at the time, it's like, isn't there tax benefits? That sadly wasn't in New Zealand, that's actually the reason I said no. As I didn't want to, like, hold him down. But, like, that is the kind of person he is. Is he was like, I want to help you out. And he still chats with me, he still, hangs out with me and everything, on a semi-regular basis. We've said that we'd try and hang out again soon to just watch some movies and anime and shit, just chill. That is literally my best friend. The best friend I have in this world. And I will not ever, in any way I actively can, hurt that guy. Because he deserves far better than I can ever give him. I owe him so much more than my life. And that's an example there of, like, that's not a relationship of romance. That's a relationship of, what I would consider that brotherly bond that not per se brothers actually have, but, like, the brother bond. Brother! Like, brothers in arms. Brothers that care so deeply about each other that, like, no matter what, they will do everything they can for the other. Like, fuck, he's asked me to manage his goddamn stock portfolio, which I try and do very minimal work on, because, I don't want to fuck around with his money. I've joked about doing day trading. He's like, yeah, you could do that. I'm like, dude, I would have to get back into the flow of that. I would lose money before I would make money. And even while he said that's okay, I'm said that's not okay. I'm not doing that. But that's kind of like the point right there of it's something you learn as you get older is that relationships are more than romantic. Relationships are so much more than just romance and that, as relationships are the bonds that you make with those around you. And a bond with a friend can far exceed that of a romantic partner any day. Which is why I absolutely despise any time I hear of the, like, that friend or something like, or like the relationship that's like, oh, you can't talk with your family or friends. Or like, you can't interact with them, you can't do this or that with them. It's like, that feels really scummy. Which I had to help someone out with that issue kind of recently. Well, I say help out. I was the ear that they needed to have lent. And I'm very happy to be that sort of people sometimes. It's like, well, I'll sit there and I will just listen. I will just kind of like pop questions in, query things in a way, and like ping off stuff like, oh, is it kind of like this? Because I have experience with that, so I can like relate the information and then better understand what I'm listening to. Which is, and I'm not gonna joke, this is the reason why people thought I was like more of a woman than I was a man at one point. Because I wore dresses and I listened to people like that, which apparently is very feminine. I found that very funny. Also, yes, I've talked about that before, though. That was funny. Again, Noxie is literally one of the people that has seen me in a dress. Back when I was in high school? Yeah. One of these days, I'll do a fucking funny stream. In a maid outfit or something. Find a cheap one on, like, Temu or Wish. Preferably one that doesn't smell too much of chemicals, which I'm already expecting that not to be possible. Learned over mistakes I made as I grew up to value and take care of relationships within my family. Ironically enough, I'm the opposite on that, but that's for very different reasons, and I've talked about that before. I have a very terrible thing with my family, so I tend to... The word family to me is antagonistic. Friends is what... Like, a lot of people go like, oh yeah, but like, when I mean family, I mean like those friends that I'm... It's like, I don't. Because when I think of family, because of the family environment I was in, I think of blood related, and fuck me, I would prefer to like drain than be associated with those people anymore. That's why, and I will say this in a loose sense, I was informed that my grandmother, obviously on my mother's side, because I don't fucking know anyone about my dad's side, was like poor health recently, because again, my best mate is still in contact with my mother, is their way of like still kind of getting in contact. I'm gonna be honest, I actively just like don't want to interact with them, and my best friend knows that. And I was told, oh, they're in poor health, this is your chance to maybe see them again. And I said, I don't believe I've been requested, so I'm not going to. I got obviously no response in this. And now, something I haven't really ever talked about, but something I dislike very, very heavily, is that my mother has sent me, like, a little bit of money for years. Ever since I last talked to them. They've sent me money. And I've actively told them to not, because I don't like it. So that money gets, like, normally put aside or just literally goes on bills. Like, actively, I try and do the worst thing I can with the money. That's most boring, because I know that that's something that would be upset by. But this time, when that money came through, it was less than normal. And that says so much about her in particular. Is that I refuse to interact with a family that has treated me like shit my entire life. And I am supposedly getting, quotation mark, punished for it. It tells so much that I am feeling more than ever justified in my desire to not engage with that family. Like, imagine you're getting given a treat at the end of the day that you don't actually like. You've actively gone, I don't want this. But you're told this is the treat you have to have while you're in this family. And then one day you do something that you're like, well, you've treated me like shit, so I'm not gonna engage with this. And you get half of that treat. I'm more happy that I got less money. Because that tells me this is a control. This is an attempt to still control me beyond the attempts that they had before. So yeah, no, in the simple sense, I have a very scumbaggy family, and I find it really funny. Now again, do I feel bad that I've just basically said I don't care about my grandmother? Sure, you can make a very valid argument to that. I don't feel anything, though. This was a person that I very rarely interacted with, and the few times I interacted with, they weren't exactly the most pleasant individual. This is the same person that told my mother, while I was a child, finally something to redeem you. Like, I never liked this person. Like, properly. And I'm now being told they're passing away. I'm like, look, a life is a life, and the life should be cherished. But if you're naturally on your way out, after a pretty solid amount of fucking life when you think on it, I'm happy that you got to live a good life. If you didn't, that's kind of on you based on what I see. Now, it's very different if someone else's family is obviously having this. I would not say such things. But it is purely because it is my family I get to say this shit, right? Like, I must stress, I would never say this to another person about their situation. Even if they're saying it themselves. In fact, if they're saying it themselves, I would just respond with, don't worry, bro, I fucking understand. I'll give too much details, but some of my mates have it really rough too. But as I explained, relations can take many shapes and are equally fulfilling. Yeah. Again, this is why I say, like, I don't like the word family because of these reasons. Am I going to say that the people I care about closely are... If I was to describe them, though, I would probably use the word family eventually, because that's how I see it, right? As these are the people that are in my network around me, that care about me, and I care about them. Same with Noxie, same with Snakers, same with, obviously, my best mate. All that, right? These are the people that I've surrounded myself with that I truly give a shit about. They're not blood related. They have no horse in this game. They just, like, they have helped me and I would like to help them, not because of an obligation that is so... How do I say it without sounding like an asshole? So deep-rooted in a biological concept of I share DNA with you, that I would like to just go, no, I want to do it out of the fact that I actually give a shit about them. Now, whether they give a shit about me, I'm never going to make that statement, even if they tell me that. That's how I work. It's very frustrating for them, trust me. I know, they've been very annoyed at me for this. But I've said very clearly to Noxie, is like, if I was to describe it, I do not see you as anything but like equivalent to a sisterly sort of thing. DNA are just letters, yeah, but biological reasoning of why I should give a shit about you sounds so fucking stupid. Like, why should such a archaic concept inform my decisions? Now, don't get me wrong. I fully get if you do care about your family. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong in any way for caring about people that you care about. It's your discretion. And then obviously I live in a country where family is a very interesting concept because you have to understand in Maori culture, like family, blood relation is thicker than everything else. Like if your big bro tells you to do something, you have to do it because that's how hierarchy works. It's very different. And that's why I do struggle with those cultural concepts sometimes because I'm like, I would never. I don't have a full sibling. So I obviously kind of am missing part of this argument, very clearly, but yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's fair. I do love that rationale. It's like, oh, I get to just, like, thrash this kid at a game. I'll fucking hang out with them. Teach the kid that their team of Pokemon Legendaries isn't good against an actual Metacomp. I'm gonna make them fucking cry. What do you mean my Mewtwo didn't win? It's because it's a psychic Pokemon that I can just abuse the shit out of. Get outspeeded, dumbass. Why am I taking so much damage? Because I'm using stealth, rocky little shit. Keep working on my Warhammer 40k things. Needed me for today, but I have plans. Oh yeah, no, that's fair. That's a good point. I should finish painting my Tyranids at some point. I know Noxie's gonna be painting this weekend though, so obviously I can't. But I also just haven't had the resources in my head to be able to handle doing that while doing other stuff at the moment, I'll be perfectly honest. As we use the term in our group of people that we know, it's the spoons. Have I ever told that explanation, by the way? I don't think I have. So the people I hang out with, one of the ideas that they've kind of like put forward is like, you have so many spoons to eat through your day, right? You have a spoon for this bowl, a spoon for that bowl, and all that. When you run out of spoons, you run out of spoons. Like, it makes sense when you just kind of like think about that, of that idea. And the point is that, like, how I'm explaining this is, yeah, I'm out of spoons at the moment. I'm low on spoons. I don't have enough to do everything at the moment that I would like to do. I'm very torn many ways, because I have to go deal with doctor's thing as well this coming week. And the fact that, yeah, obviously I was in hospital earlier the week, and I'm still kind of recovering from that situation. So, I've been able to slowly do more things I couldn't get my mind to before. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things of, I know I'm probably, like, well and truly on those spectrums as well. I just can't be asked to deal anything, because it costs so much to get it tested as well, here in New Zealand. I don't probably gain enough of a benefit from it. But, like, I fucking know I'm an autistic master, based on just how I handle, like, magic. I have something that we've proven many times in the group I play with, like the boys' night I play in, right? Is, and this is a joke they made, not even I got to make this, is there was a card one day, like, it got played, and I'm like, what does that do? And the response I got from the guy casting it is, oh god, if you don't know what it does, it must be bad. And I couldn't help but laugh. And then the best part was, I looked at the thing and I'm like, oh yeah, that is really bad. And he's like, yeah. My point fucking stands. And it's become, like, the ongoing joke of, like, if Malith doesn't know what the card is, it's shit. Now, that's not truly the case. There are cards out there I don't know that are good. But the fact that I have, like, almost a few thousand cards in my head that I can, like, library recall from. If you tell me an effect, I can, like, tell you cards within that scope, or, like, what their abilities are. I might not be able to remember the name. I remember the art of the card better. Which is not great, because obviously card art changes. Heard of a funny illegal MTG combo? Go on, hit me with it, see if I know it. Because trust me, I know some pretty fucking foul combos. I have some in my decks. I mean, fuck, you wanna hear something really funny, Nya? Did you know one of the brand new precons that came out is a bracket 4 because it has a fucking infinite in it? On release? Like, raw from the deck itself? And when I upgraded the precon, I just left it in there? Are you curious what it is? Then you can... Oh, yeah, no, and then you can put Exodia into your hand and then you win the game. Yes, I do know about that combo. Do you like how I got partway through you talking about that and then I knew what it is? This is my point. This is why it sucks talking about magic with me, because it's like, oh yeah, no. Anyway, to see the infinite combo, we need to look at this creature here. So, whenever this deals combat damage to a player, you may put -1/-1 counters on target creature, or put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. It's the second effect here that matters. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. So why is the second effect that goes broken? Let's see if I can remember what was the other fucking creature that's needed for this. No, I can't find it. So let's click on the thing. Oh, it's the enchantment. So whenever a creature dies, if it had a -1/-1 counter on it, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. So with the other card saying, whenever you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, create a creature, a 1/1 creature. And when this says if a creature dies and it had one -1/-1 counter on it, put a -1/-1 counter on a creature. You stack this and you go infinite. Good, congratulations. If you want to play an aristocrat deck, you've now got the pieces you need. It is straight up that easy. One or more on a creature, create a snake. Whenever a creature dies with one, put a counter on one. That's base precon. And now, again, this is my deck list of it. So you could make an argument, oh no, didn't you add... No. I haven't even actually fully attributed, as you can see here, like the Rampant Growth has got like a blue banner on it here. I have actually correctly put this one in. But like I haven't even actually ticked this one off because I do have it in the deck, I just haven't ticked it off yet. This is how early on the deck is. Almost all the stuff that's fucking green-lined is because it's in the deck. I swapped 6 cards out. One of them was a fucking Path of Ancestry, because there's not actually that many goblins and warlocks in this deck, and I do fully intend to keep it as Auntie Ul as the commander. Because, holy Jesus, I've come to understand how nuts that commander is. This commander, I want to stress, this was something we figured out, I think it was yesterday, is this commander's fucking bullshitly nuts. So, its effects, we're going to ignore the ward cost stuff because we don't really need to talk about that. Whenever one or more -1/-1 counters are put on a creature, draw a card if you control that creature. If you don't control it, its controller loses 1 life. Now, I put forward a question, and I misunderstood reading this what this effect was. I asked if I put down a creature like, I think is it, one of these ones down here has it. This one here. When this creature enters, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature. What does this do? Well, I was like, okay, well, what my question I put forward is, what happens if both of the creatures, if you're doing this to the whole board, what happens if there's multiple creatures that are occurring, that are of different ownership? Because I read Auntie Ul as when you put -1/-1 counters on creatures, if you own the creature, you draw a card. If you don't own it, you put a -1, the person gets pinged for 1 life. Not that, again, we're going to re-look at this for a moment. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature. No, my misunderstanding was that it's when you put -1/-1 counters on creatures. No, this is per fucking creature. Who fucking owns it is you getting an effect. There is no once per turn clause on this either, by the way. So if I just, drop a card like this on the board, I could just draw a full hand again and kill you. On each creature. Yeah, no, again, this is one of those things of, I misunderstood this card. This card is fucking cracked. Yeah. So this deck's scary as shit. I've now come to understand it, which makes it more funny, and I've said this again every time I talk about this deck. It makes it more funny to me how many people are trying to go, no, everyone's sleeping on the Reaper King No More, which is the alternate commander for the deck. Where it's, when it enters, put -1/-1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. When a creature an opponent controls dies with a -1 counter on it, you may put that card onto the battlefield under your control. You can only do this once per turn. Little fun fucking fact, by the way. There is a fucking non-legendary card in the deck that does that without a once per turn clause. Yeah, no, straight up. When a creature an opponent controls with a -1 counter on it dies, you may return that card to the battlefield under your control. There is a non-legendary in the deck that does the same thing for arguably less and or equal mana, but it's not once per turn. It just happens to not be legendary, so you can't run it as your commander. I'm fucking sorry. Whoever's trying to convince me the Reaper King No More is super good. I get it. You think it's cool. I'm fully there for you. I'm good. That's great. But also, draw your entire fucking deck and kill a person off a fucking Black Sun Zenith sounds really good. So yeah, that's me being like, this deck's fucking nuts. And I only probably want to upgrade like 2 or 3 more cards left in it. I kind of want to take Chamilla Inner Sun out, just because this card is way too expensive for this deck. I want to lower the curve of this deck a lot more. That's why I added ramp to it, after all. Max level 4 Pokemon from the deck, but it's actually a max level 4 demon from the deck, meaning I could get a specific one, and that's its entire loop from there. Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, like, I'm super happy at the moment, by the way. Again, I get to reiterate this. I've been able to now have 4 decks available, right? So these are the two of the decks here. Let me actually open them up as new tabs properly. But these are the 2 of the new decks here. The Blights one, and then also this one. So these are the 4, so including the Blights deck, these are the 4 decks that I have that, like, I have to play at this week's, like, games, and I'm super excited for. Yes, I have an Edgar Markov deck, finally. I'm very happy about this. This deck's probably going to need a little bit more work, I expect, fully. But yeah, no, I have an Edgar Markov deck now. This is a nice, cool thing, because this was one of the commanders that, on the first day of playing Magic, like even getting into Magic, I considered this commander quite heavily. And then Magic as God is Intended is one of my favorite ones. Catch you later, Nia. But this one's one of my favorite ones we made. This is literally all basic creatures, because like I can make them not blockable with the commander. This was something we worked on yesterday. Also, I love that now because of the updated stuff, I need to send my mate this image. And then this was the other one that I finally got to finish building, which is my Wandering Minstrel deck, that I upgraded with the Elementals Precon, Ashling the Limitless. Now, is that probably a downgrade to that Precon? Yes. I fully expect this to probably be a weaker deck because of this. I don't care. I genuinely don't think I give a shit. I love this deck. This deck looks so fun because it has every single town in it. Every single town from Final Fantasy is in this deck. Because the only one we struggled for ages was this one, Jador, and I did manage to buy it not that long ago, which made me really want to finish building this deck. Every single town is in this. Right, let me open up this and send my mate. No, I absolutely fucking love this stuff. Again, you can tell I'm a massive magic nerd. Truly. Right, where the fuck was I? We're in the middle of the legs, right? We're in between his legs. How is it that I'm doing, like, a drawing that's not lewd, and I somehow make it lewd? To be fair, there is a lewd drawing literally on the other tab. So, I can't say shit, clearly. Probably need to fix a lot of this because that just doesn't look quite right in some regards. We'll fix it in post. So I'm not sure about these birds. I like them, but I also don't. Again, it's the benefit that we have of potentially never having to fucking see them. Why am I just kind of like realizing how tired I'm feeling right now, and I'm not happy about it. Especially knowing I'm gonna get, like, no time after stream to rest, because I'm gonna basically have to, like, come off stream, go have a shower, and get ready for boys' night, because they're gonna probably come around. I don't fucking know, actually. They tend to come around at weird times. And I also am not in the group chat where I get informed. I still love that, by the way, is I'm technically not in the group chat. I still have technically never been truly invited to the boys' night. I just kind of turned up one time, got asked if I would play. I played, and then like I kind of just self-invite every once in a while. When I feel like confident enough that I can walk in and play. But I still, like, have a part of me that I'm like, I don't feel invited. This week I kind of do, because Snakers is, like, we've talked so much about these decks being for boys' night, finally, that he's, like, told me we weren't doing it yesterday, as soon as he found out, stuff like that. I find that funny, though. I just find that very funny to me. It's, like, it's kind of self-invited. It's like, hey guys, thanks for inviting me to the party. No one invited you. I know, I invited myself. It's like, oh, okay. Sure. Why not? Why would that not be what you would do in that case? What? Administration? What? Self-defenestration? I still love that word, by the way. Do you guys know what that word means? I feel like everyone knows what that word means now, because it's become, like, such a popular meme. It's what Enfield calls me. Oh yeah, how's Enfield been treating you? I haven't actually looked much at the game. I'm still, like, kind of tossing up whether or not I can be arsed playing another fucking game. Probably not. I'm an infielder doing infielder things. Because it's, which game is it? It's Arknights, right? Is it Arknights that it's based in? Feels like a new Genshin. I mean, yeah, it's another open world sort of thing. Yeah, like, again, the other thing I'll say to the friends hype, like, I have mates that are playing it, and I'm like, I don't really want to pick up another game that I'm gonna play for, like, at most a weekend, and then just, like, not play. At the moment. Because normally I would be quite happy to, because it's, like, me learning about the game, learning things I can learn from said game, yada yada yada, right? I just really don't feel up to it right now. Resource and automation. Yeah, I do. That's one of the big charms of it, right? Is that it's got like soft Factorio satisfactory shit going in it. I don't know what can be learned from such a thing. Well, I mean, Zenless Zone Zero is a great example. I played that game for 2 weeks. I went into that game going, I'm only playing this for 2 weeks. Played it for 2 weeks, and I learned quite a bit about animation. I learned quite a bit about, like, certain visual systems. Stuff like that. So it's, again, never underestimate what you can learn from a game when you go in with the mindset of learning from the game. Like, the combat flow was quite interesting. The egregious amount of, like, particles and animations and flashing things got to me a little bit, but, like, I understand why there was a dopamine kick to how the game felt sometimes because of it. I love the media surrounding Zenless more than Zenless. Yeah. Like, I absolutely stand by, if I had more hours in the day and more energy, I would play Zenless. But it's the same reason why I've said before, like, why do I play Star Rail instead of any other gacha game? It's because I can play that game, like, in the 20 minutes before stream. I have not completed the story stuff for, like, 3 patches. I am behind on events and stuff, which is fine at the moment. Because all of the events are extremely elongated because of the delayed next update. When they introduced yet another grind system. Yeah, I think that was part of it to me as well, is I'm like, while I like the combat, I don't quite like how active again, and say what you want to this, I have to be so active in all of the grinding. Even Warframe, in a sense, like, has the benefit that some of the grinding can be done quite passively. As well as, like, I don't feel the absolute need to log into Warframe every day. The benefit I have is when I look at Warframe, I look at a game that I can play maybe once or twice a week, maybe not even play it for like a couple of weeks, and I don't feel like I'm hugely disadvantaged. Partly because I'm so far along in the game and so far ahead of the curve in a lot of regards that if something comes out that's like, oh no, we've pushed the boundaries of the game, I'm like, cool, finally a fucking challenge. Because I can vaporize literally level cap enemies now. I figured that out with one of the builds that I did, which is why I stopped playing that build, because I was like, this is boring now. But yeah, no, it was the excessive activeness of all of the actions in the game just kind of was like slowly grinding me down. Again, welcome to why I like Star Rail, because I can just put Star Rail on in the morning, especially now that I can just like set it to do what's equivalent to a 48-hour, like a 24-hour-esque time frame grind in 1 click or 2 clicks. Right? They've added a thing, so now you can put up to, like, 6 or something like that waves of a thing that shouldn't have waves. With, like, the gear. The gear's the big thing. Like, I think you can now queue up 6 combats of, the gear in Star Rail. And I'm like, that's fucking amazing. Because now I can just queue up all of the resources, that I would do in a morning, instead of having to do a fight for like 2 minutes while I'm away from the computer, come back and just basically say, do it again. It's really added a level that I'm quite happy with of automation to it. That makes it much easier to just like log in, do your dailies, and log the fuck out in like the space of 10 minutes. I don't think it's optional when it's encouraged, yeah. That's fair. Like, that's why I say, like, most gacha games have the issue where it's like, no, you're not logging in every day. You're actively hurting your experience of the game. Warframe, the daily resets and stuff are great. Yes, if you really need to grind certain things, you're definitely going to care about them. But that's why I say, like, doing it every few days a week Oh, it's great. It's the best way to be able to play that game. I do not think Warframe is a game that you're supposed to play daily anymore. Like, early on, like, fuck. I use the Warframe, like, build timer as a great example to players now of, like, how to view the game. The game takes 3 days to make most Warframes, outside of a single Warframe. Now, you might go, oh, well, that means I have to wait 3 days. I'm like, just don't play for 3 days. Come back, you've got a Warframe you get to play. It's great when you look at the game that way. Now, I obviously understand that that's not how that feels for some players, and I concur that especially early on in the game, or much earlier on in the game's lifespan, that did not feel like the case. It feels like the case probably maybe in the early game. I'm not sure. I haven't played early game Warframe in years, obviously. But what I've seen is the game has a lot more acceleration to it if you just want to move forward with the game, at least for story-wise stuff. To be fair, I did find out the other day how much of like a difference and understanding I have with people is I said the comment. And I mean this with the most love, to one of my friends of just like, I'm surprised that you can complete the story and not have like the gear to play Steel Path. I would assume by the point of getting to the end of the story, you should have all access to everything. And Noxie responded with going, I can't. And I'm like, huh. I'm clearly really wrong then. Because that now means I've heard many people tell me that. And I'm like, cool. So that means I have a big disconnect between me and probably a more casual player. I consider myself, I play casually. I do not consider myself a casual player in Warframe. And I don't think anyone would accept me saying that. Can't clear what? Steel Path. They do Steel Path missions. So if you've cleared all of the story content in the game, you should probably be able to access everything you need to be able to beat Steel Path. It's my genuine opinion. But I'm clearly disenfranchised with most players. And I accept being wrong on this one. If you mean solo. Yeah, I mean, when I talk on Warframe, I primarily talk solo. I should kind of stress that. Because, like, I do everything in Warframe solo. I had trouble with a full squad. Yeah, like, this is why I say, like, I'm very clearly the wrong person to ask. Because, like, while I have frustration with some Steel Path, like, Interception is a good example, I have frustration with Steel Path. I get, like, annoyed with it sometimes, because I'm like, some of these missions aren't per se hard, I just kind of have to, like, pay attention and bring, like, somewhat good builds for. Because, like, if you don't play Interception without something that has, like, really good KPI, or good lockdown, but you can't really play lockdown anymore in Warframe, stuff like that, then yeah, you're going to not be able to beat the mission a lot of the time, in Steel Path particularly. In non-Steel Path Interception, you can kind of cheese, just because the spawn rates are lower, the enemies are much easier to kill, you can CC them more often. Stuff like that. But yeah. No, it's something that, like, it's one of those moments where I realize how wrong I am in my own opinion, that it's acceptable to say, like, I'm wrong in my opinion, because my opinion is formed from a very different perspective on Warframe. I have come at the game from playing it for a long time. I do not know what it's like to just, like, play through all of the story all at once. You need to understand that, like, obviously the point I'm making is that I have had years in between each story update. So the idea of not being more than strong enough for the next section of the game is, like, very foreign to me, because of that. Like, it's a weird concept that, like, I can't quite wrap my head around in Warframe specifically because of that, like, weird discrepancy between how I've played, how the game has moved forward with me, and how it's very much not the case. Like, fuck, I have builds on characters I absolutely don't even enjoy playing that I've made, so it's like, oh, this can play in Steel Path. And I was looking at it all recently, and I was querying myself on, like, how hard is it to accomplish these builds? How hard would it be for a normal player to, like, come across the idea of this build, be able to construct this build, and get it to work? And that was kind of another moment of realization of, like, I'm actually pretty sure it's a lot harder than I think to come across these builds, to, like, conclude this is how to get, like, the strength out of this frame, or that frame, or see how to get this optimization done. Which is very interesting, to, like, come to realize. Because I've just got mods in there that I'm like, look, they're not hard to get if you know where they are. And that was the biggest thing that, like, I came to realize, is how often there are mods that just, like, people just don't know where the fuck they are, so they don't know they exist. And because they don't know they exist, they're just, like, not playing with these mods that drastically improve your game. Like, Nightmare mods, Corrupted Vault mods, like, those are probably the best examples off the top of my head. Like, a player playing without a narrow-minded makes me, like, question a lot of things about myself. Like, you should have access to narrow-minded. It's like, what the fuck's narrow-minded? I'm like, it's like one of the best duration effects in the game. What do you mean? Okay, I think it's in more, I can't say it's in probably more builds than continuity. Prime continuity's in a lot of builds. But, like, it's a hell of a strong thing, and it's just, it's that realization that I don't think I've ever really had a game, especially in recent time, where I felt that realization for as much as I have with Warframe. Because, yeah, how do you say this without sounding like an arrogant ass? I consider myself good at the game. I've played for so long, and there was a section of the game, it was up till about when Nidus released, is probably a good bit on timings, where I had, like, most of the wiki memorized. Like, I knew where fucking just about everything was. I started kind of slipping around when Nidus released. I stopped knowing so much. And then a lot of things got changed. Like, I knew what every ability did. I knew most of the scalings. Again, we've proven with, like, fucking Pokemon how, like, much of a nerd I am when I get into a game that I care about. Quiz on damage calc. Oh. Don't make me have to do the damage calculation math again. It's really dumb. It depends on, like, specifically what you're asking, because then so you've got IPS damage, then you've got the status effect damage that is a multiplier normally based off of the base IPS damages when you add a status effect. Then you've got stuff like raw, like the damage percentage increases, which tend to upgrade the IPS specifically. Then you've got faction mods, which calculate on a completely different scale. Then you've got like more grander modifiers as well that can double dip on things. I mean, raw is one of the best examples of that. Is raw double dips on values that it shouldn't, where it applies before and after faction damage calculation, which is why raw is such a, like, top end ability for damage. Because think of it like this. It calculates the same value from the bonus from raw at 2 separate points. At two like, parts where it can. Which, if you've got a faction mod, it means that you're just inherently getting more out of it. And then obviously crit is technically on top of those as well. Oh no, crit's before faction calculation, I believe, is when crit's calculated in Warframe. Yeah. Which obviously as well, like how crit works is that it modifies by the crit damage up until red crit, and then it takes a diminishing return. I believe it's like a percentage less. Like it's like 90 or something % of the crit damage less than the previous time. So it slowly escalates down, but it's still fucking nutty scaling, because it's still like, you have 300% crit damage. It'll go from 300% to 270% to like fucking less than that, but it's like, it's still 270% on the previous 300%, because it calculates each previous crit point before. It's nuts. It's nuts is what it is. Which I also laugh at the game calling stuff red crit still, because I don't have them as red crits, I have them as white crits, because I changed how my numbers are colored, and I find that very funny that it's still like, this is a red crit, and it's like, no, it's not, it's a white crit, you bitch. I found it easier to read that way, if anyone's wondering. I'm not gonna lie, that's looking quite clean like that. Obviously the leg looks jank, the two legs look jank as shit around the knees, but like, I gave up on that a long time ago. Like, armor calculation, in Warframe is fascinating because I use that calculation in a lot of places. I lost perfect dodges after a full 10-minute fight. Because I'm stubborn, wanting to fight something 3 times my level with perfect dodges. I understand that, though, right? It's the charm of, like, you find out when it's like, how much... I love games that don't tell you what level it is. You're just like, you're above my thing, I shouldn't be fighting you. You do perfect dodge, perfect dodge, perfect dodge. You get slightly grazed and you're just, like, almost dead immediately. You're like, oh, you're not something I should be fighting. At all. I fucking love that shit, man. Do I want... No, I don't want to stick with the one-winged angel. I do need to do that second wing. I still, like, kind of like the idea of it. I do. I genuinely do. How lazy am I feeling? I'm feeling kind of lazy. You guys want to see how lazy I'm feeling? Oh wow, we already got the other wing done! Yay! You wanted symmetry? Yeah, exactly. It's perfect symmetry. Like, it's the fucking sketch art of the damn thing. I feel like I'm entitled to go, like, you know what, fuck you. I'm doing the lazy answer. There we go. Okay, that does look fucking sick, though. finish off this here with the short styling done. Okay, there we go. So take away all that, and that's kind of the design we've got. Now, let's play around with color more, shall we? I feel like I should probably just have this on a slightly more aggressive tolerance. Area scaling. Okay, so we kind of had that. Okay. I do kind of love how patchy some of this coloring is done on the original piece. It just makes it, like, somewhat funnier when you compare it to, like, the much more cleaner sort of thing. Okay, so that's a bit closer to, like, what we want. Now, obviously, there are some things I need to change here, but, like, one of the things I want to change quickly. I'm gonna have to do this on both sides, aren't I? It's like that. I feel like the hair could be much brighter, I'll be honest. Right. Obviously, this is missing, like, shading and stuff like that, but, you know. And obviously, eyes as well. Eyes are a big one. It's got nothing going on in those eyes. That looks a little bit. Do we want the actually? Ooh. That's looking nice, actually. I like that. You know, I am liking this a little bit more now. Still need to probably raise the opacity of that a little bit more, just to, like, again, accentuate the horns more. So as a cleaned up ruff, I like that a little bit more. I'm actually pretty happy with it. Oof. feels very aristocrat noble, but like, again, with, I want to change maybe something about the boots. Maybe we give the boots a brown color. Right? Oh, not that brown. Like, it seems weird and slightly out of place. To an extent. But the argument I make is that, like, this guy actually does look like he travels. Like, genuinely, this guy... Again, because of the belt alone, it looks like this guy's a bit more like he actually goes around places. So, while he's got this very noble-esque air, he probably actually goes outside and fucking, like, interacts with the world. Which is the point. He is supposed to feel like he has traveled a lot. So, the idea of putting the brown boots to it gives more of like, these are actually just travel boots that are just like slightly done up maybe to look a little bit fancy. But like the charm is that if you look at his character outside of like pretty heavy case scenarios, he probably doesn't get any of this outfit like dirty. I walk around everywhere until I have to use my wings and get over the mud that's in the way. Which is slightly charming, I'll be honest. I need the enclose and fill one for that one, I think. I made this. Dude, it's one of the best parts of the art stuff that I've been doing at the moment is I actually feel, like, happy showing it. Like, again, this is just a rough cleanup of a sketch of the character I want to do. And I'm like, this is still, like, something I feel like I could actually show people and be like, hey, look at this cool thing I made. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's looking decent. Am I wrong? Potentially. Maybe I have a bias in this argument. Who would have fucking guessed? The charm as well is I could change some of these fucking colors in a goddamn instant. No bias. Yeah, exactly. What do you fucking mean? There would never be any bias. Because, like, I could toss red in there if I wanted. I think it looks better with the purple, though, I gotta say. Like, the more, like, I'm playing around with that, the more I'm like, nah, I'm actually pretty content with that. It feels like too much has to change in areas that I don't think look good to change if I was to do, like, different colors in places. Mouth the knower objective. Yeah, everything I say is objectively the case, right? Like, that's how the internet works nowadays. You have to assert that, like, everything you say is 100% very much the case and has to be that way. If you don't agree, you're wrong. Ooh, we need to do the fun thing where we take away the line art and see what happens. You know, I'm a lot less impressed with it than I am normally with a lot of these ones where you take away the line art. But it's probably because I haven't added any, like, shading or anything to it. It just feels very empty, I'll be honest. It's still fun to do, though. I think the wings do a lot for the design and kind of, like, bring your eyes out for the whole thing. I actually quite like how plain the belt is, though. In comparison to a lot of the rest of the outfit. Again, it was a really funny suggestion. I really agree with it. It looks quite nice with the design that we've got here, because it helps do something that I've not done enough with the design, I feel, which is create these, like, slightly boring moments that add to the charm of this guy travels everywhere and he just picks things up. Right? The idea that this is like the fucking first stick. This is something he picked up of a god. Well, what they called was a god. Like, things like that, where it's, a demigod. But like the charm of playing around with those ideas, where it's like this is a character that has just gone around and collects little bitty things that he grabs from places. Is there any true rhyme or reason to the decisions he makes with those things that he picks up? Probably not, I'll be honest. It's very much my perspective on like how I talked about with my handwriting. How was my handwriting designed and how did it end up like, this? Wow, that's really hard to do with the, that pen. Give me a sec. Like, how did my handwriting turn into that? Like, a lot of people say it looks really nice, and I appreciate that they're willing to say that to boost my ego. But no, the reason my handwriting's that way is because of very simple arguments. Autograph stolen. Wait, there you go, Malith. But it's a very simple argument. I saw someone one day draw, so I used to draw Wise, like the normal thing. And then one day I saw a thing where they did that. And I'm like, I'm doing that with all of my flicks now. The T's. Which is also not how you do them, technically. You're supposed to only do that. But, I don't know. And also, one of the things I found out is, like, when I do a capital T, oh shit, but I'm doing this thing. Okay, we'll just do line up here. Like, my handwriting is my handwriting. It is a great example of how, like, I want to approach everything with this stuff. It is stylized by me going, ooh, I like that thing. I want to do something like that. I'm gonna try and do something like that. Which is why I'm also very italic with a lot of my writing. Right? Also, I look like I fucking write like a doctor. I mean, fuck, I talked about how I wrote the note yesterday about the robotics thing. I have those notes next to me. They're in the writing of like, what is it? Like, that's pretty much what it looks like written on my nose. And yes, that is actually what I wrote. Robotic arm with VTubers each controlling one. Because of that funny idea. I wrote the note down. I said I would. Gotta make everything your own. I'm not gonna, like, do hard detailing still, by the way. I am just very, like, lightly doing this. Okay, so now we're at this stage of the design. Is there anything we feel like could be done? Colors changed, parts of the outfit that we feel are very wrong outside of, like, the very obvious stuff at the moment, which I'm kind of, like, avoiding too much, which is this arm over here and this down here, these knees. Like, I acknowledge those are just bad, right? They are not done correctly. Like, these spots here, they're not done correctly. We're not bothering. We have examples of everything we're doing with it all. That's kind of the point of this, right? Is it is supposed to be a example piece. So is there any colors we'd like to try and experiment with, seeing, like, would this look good? Like, I don't know, red pants. God, that looks fucking awful. Holy shit, that looks... No, that hurts my eyes. Red shirt? No. Missing a hot dog? Okay, right. He's chewing on a hot dog. That just looks like he's poking his tongue out. I don't know much about color theory. I know a bit about color theory. This is still breaking rules color theory, because fuck you, I don't give a shit. Again, the brown is very much a discrepancy for it, but it helps do... Okay, so this is... You're on a little crash course on a little bit of color theory stuff. Brown and purple do not match. However, by the charm of it, brown and black, like this, tends to deter the eye away from a location. So you're less likely to look at the staff and the boots, and you're more likely to look at this bit of hair here that is currently very different from the rest of it. Either you'll look at this bit of hair, or you'll look at these parts inside of the wings. It was a dick joke. I know it was a dick joke. I think I'm that dumb. So that's a thing that we've got going for us. By also the same means, this here is like actively deterring your eyes away from that location because the color is so like fucking blasé. Which adds to this level of like, we kind of unjokingly deter your eyes from this area in general. Or should I say, this area in general. What is this doing? This means that your eyes are less likely to focus on the center of the body, so I've now pushed your eyes actually further up from this location. Again. You can do 2-player colors. Wait, so what would be... Wait. I can do this. What would be player 2 color? If player 1 color is purple, normally you'd do yellow, right? Or green. Oh, that looks shit. Player 2 rear. Wait. I'm gonna have to... My god, the rain is getting intense outside. Player 2 colors. I will normally player like 1 and 2, it's like red and blue, right? So I think the music ended. Replay that shit because that was good music. Yeah, like it's blue for player 2, it looks like. It's red for normal, blue for thing. So like, what is... It's partly because they're kind of like nearly opposite. So if we're dealing with that, we've got yellow or green. I feel yellow's the more opposite in my eyes. So let's try and do a funny yellow coloring. Hey, Yawa, how's it going? This is so weird. Looks... I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad looking, I have to say. Like, all things considered, I fuck with that. It's weird, but... yes, Deus Ex Pistols. Damn it. It is interesting. Malith Player 2 has entered the game. Go on, Yawa, what's a color scheme you'd want to see on this at this point, just for funnies? See-through? There you go. Wait, no, you want true see-through? There we go. The fake PNG see-through? Okay. Well, I mean, that is what this is then. Make the background green? Okay, give me a sec. Oh! I hate that. Can I change it now, please? Because that's really hard to look at. I'm just changing it. No. Get me out of this. No watermarks. Darn. How is green worse than white? I don't know, man. I don't make the rules. I just do what my job, man. I make piss Malloth and normal Malloth. I think the design's looking good though. Like, genuinely. You sound drunk? I don't know if I should be upset by that. I think that's amazing. I wish I was drunk. Wish I could get drunk. How did you know, by the way, that last night before I went to bed, I just genuinely sat there and I'm like, God, I could use a drink right now. He's drunk on life and art, yeah. I genuinely was a thing that last night I was like, I could really go for like a beer right now. I've not had one in a while. I really could go for one. Old man going like, where's my bottle of whiskey? Ah, good. Oh, you know what I could try and do? Wait. I need to pull up an image. You know what color scheme I should try for funnies? Wait, let me get some reference coloring. Luckily enough, the individual that I'm going to copy the color scheme of has posted a lot of good art and images recently that makes it much easier to find good referencing to what the thing is. Open image in new tab. Okay, let's try and do this color scheme. I'm gonna have to roll my sleeves up for this. I have to take this very seriously. I'm gonna see how long it takes before I get called out on this, by the way. No, this is gonna be wide. Wide adjacent. Oops, I missed. Here we go. Always can tell when it hits the grander coloring. Whoops. I had the background. There we go. need to put it to slightly later. Stay the same. Trying to do this like really quickly is not helping my brain. I mean, it's technically this, and then it's like that. There you go. Hey, I wonder what that's a reference to. I'm not gonna lie, it actually turned out a lot better than I was like initially expecting. For like a quick kind of do together. Is that a reference? It's maybe a reference. I'm bad with those. I don't know. I wonder what like reference art I could just pull out really quickly. And try and make a color scheme with to reference something. I feel like I gotta go more whites though. One way to poke the fox. I mean, isn't Yawa probably starting stream soon? I don't want to interrupt Yawa. She is live. Yeah, don't annoy her if she's live. That's not right. Yeah. I have it sitting there at least, so that's a little funny thing we have now that we can just toggle to. I'm not gonna lie, it came out really nice though. Like that actually is a really nice color scheme for the most part. I could probably do something with like this little bit of here a little bit more. I think it needs to be a little bit more on this kind of point. But like that? The color theme is her. It is. Yeah. And trying to like eyeball it, I feel like I got decent with most of it. I'm not gonna lie, I think part of it that I really like is the difference between the wings. It's like the wings are the same color gradient of the different colors. It actually came out nicely. Yeah. Because I did it based on the tails. The tails are two different colors. Alright. Again, this is where I get to go like, welcome to what happens when I get a reference image. So I looked at it, I'm like, the blue is a bit off. I could probably make it a bit more of the thing for it. The main blue. That's something I could probably tweak up a little bit. Because it's more on this kind of zone. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Helps the thing pop. Now we have player 2. Is this player 2? Do I have to now do a color scheme for, like, the character for any time I might collab with people? Or I, like, have to take their color scheme and just, like, fucking put it onto the character as quickly as possible? God, please don't make me do that. That's gonna drive me insane. I love the boots though, like I don't think I can do much to the boots. You can put it in layers. To be fair, I will be. I've got some ideas, but like I'm gonna be careful with a lot of it because it has to, so again, the thing I've come to understand with a bit of the logic behind how coloring and stuff works on VTubers is like what you want to do is you want to have a layer of like just the raw image, a color layer, and then texturing layers over the top of that. And I'm gonna play around with a lot of that when I can. I'm gonna have to. I do understand, by the way, on the literal reference thing, there are all of the colors I could just yoink, but I'm doing this from eye stuff, right? So there is a lot to the design process and that I've come to understand more and more after doing like a little bit of research. But I do find it kind of fun that we can probably actually just change the outfit pretty easily and quickly by just recoloring it for situations. Wait, that means we have to do a Christmas outfit, right? What's the Christmas coloring? What do we think? When we think of Christmas coloring, do we think Santa or do we think all the festive colors? Because, like, obviously there's greens, there's reds, there's golds, like, those are fairly consistent colors with it. There's, like, the aqua-y green, blues as well. Then there's obviously just red, red, white, red. Another red. Probably a slightly close to white red. Very original color palette. What do we think? I want to do a Christmas one for funnies. I feel like immediately, if we're doing a Christmas one, what we want to do with the wings. I think I want to go stark white. Is we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do like a thing in here. That red's still not happy with that, eh? That red's too painful. Christmas Malith. Your therapist, Christmas Malith, doesn't exist. Christmas Malith. Festive Malith, I guess. Chryslith. So fucking cursed. Yeah, welcome to Chryslith. Chryslith wants to cry in a fucking hole. Jesus. Oh my god, that looks almost disgustingly foul. There you go. It's Chryslith. Merry Christmas, everybody! Fucking kill me! Put me out of my misery. I love how, like, we've basically made, like, normal, shiny, Alolan form festive. Mouth the Pokemon. We got regional variants, let's go. What are we doing with this? Oh, my headphones are dying. Oh, there's one other color scheme I've got to do then, if we're doing these for funnies. Of course, there's one other color scheme I have to do. Like, I objectively have to do it. I'm gonna have to get a reference image, though. I don't want to try and do it off the top of my head. I'm gonna hurt myself. Give me a good image of her. Yes, that will do. That will do nicely. Okay. You'll probably be able to figure it out really fucking quickly, I'm gonna be honest. It's not going to be subtle. Man, I didn't even get through anything but, like, looking at pinks, and you're like, it's Iron Mouse. It's like, alright, well, you're not fucking wrong, but, like, at least give me some time to make something interesting. I didn't even get a chance, man. I was not even looking at the stream. Damn, that says way more about how true that is, though. Me thinking I don't know. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not gonna lie, can I just, like, reiterate how much I fuck with this design? Fuck off. Yes, the Iron Mouse. Admittedly, let's probably change color. Like, only changing color schemes is kind of funny. Yeah, I think that's not too far off. Ironically enough, the benefit I have is there's a couple of things I just don't have to change, because she does have, like, purples as well. Honestly, the boots are probably the most glaringly different thing in this outfit, but, like, they're still, like, if overall, I could probably just, fucking slap them with this color. I'm also curious why the stick top is also wood color. Because I'm lazy at this stage. It's probably supposed to be like an orb that's colored. I don't fucking know. Like, what? Should it be like green or purple or some shit? I don't know. Let's go back to the base design. Let's go back to the base color. Like, you want... that. Want to be a gem? Maybe? I don't know. That's kind of the point I'm making, is like, I don't actually know what I want the top of this to be, I just know I wanted it to be circular. Green works, honestly. Oh. Good, nice, good, limey green. Maybe. Like that. Let's go through our color palettes. Does kind of hurt against that one a little bit. That one just looks kind of fun. It fits a little too much into that one. Fuck you, Piss Melith. I just find it really funny. Like, it's just, I'm gonna steal Yahu's, like, color scheme for a moment, just to see what it looks like on my character. Oh, it didn't end up too bad, actually. Okay, the question I have, based on all these designs, what have we liked the most out of all of the color schemes? Though. Eye color whites. Look, I haven't bothered with the eyes properly. They are as lazy as can be, because at the moment they're still like skin color in the whites. Like, I have not bothered changing a lot of things yet, because like that's starting to get into details that I'm like, I don't need to test the details out. We know, like, for example, the eyes aren't just going to be flat colors like this, just based off the sketch stuff alone, right? We go here, like, this is what the eyes are going to probably more likely look like in terms of design. They're not going to be plain, but I'm not going to do that right now, right? We are just playing around with the raw design of the character, seeing whether or not I like the idea, if I want to, like, just straight up go, you know what, those cuffs, I don't like them, we're removing them. As an example. I'm not going to, I like the cuffs. The cuffs look really cool because it adds to the, like, general feel of this this design, where it feels like you've got this, the fluffiness in it. Like, the design looks fluffy. A lot more than I thought. Is that piece below the tie armor? Do you mean the white? Like this bit here? No, that is a shirt. Kind of think of it as like there's a vest. So he's wearing a shirt, a dress shirt, a vest, and then the coat has a closing. This is actually a very, like, this is something that has existed. That's why, like, this is typically colored with the coat. This itself here isn't a vest. That's why down here I don't color as well. Like, this is colored the same color theoretically as up here shirt is, because this is also just shirt. If that makes sense. So warm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably wear this outfit, but I would be dying by the end of the day in it. I would need to find, like, I'm gonna be honest, if I was to actually, like, cosplay this character as is, I would find a way to make as many of this as just one layer as possible. Like, you, said he turned out fluffy with spiky here. It's funny, because it adds, like, a bit of a charm, because even the fluffiness is spiky, right? Like, the wings have subtle spikiness to them a little bit. The cuffs and the collar have a spikiness to them. The armor is actually quite rounded, but, like, then, yes, his hair and his horns kind of spike all up together. And then his teeth. So it, like, creates this kind of general, like, if you just... I don't know if I can do it really well, but if we just do this, right? So we remove the head from the equation of the character. This actually looks like very, like, sleek and fluffy and nice. And not too menacing. But then you add the head in and you're like, this is a guy that, like, has dressed with purpose. Like, this is a merchant in, like, an anime that would fully just, like, test you with, like, giving you a deal. If you don't do the deal in a way that he's happy with, he would think you're a fucking moron and never deal with you again. But if you played it right, he's like, good, now I can, like, drop the fucking facade. And get to actual merchant or noble business. That's why, like, I do really like the fact that it is playing with that smile thing. Because it is just the unsettlingness where it's like, You don't know if it's a genuine smile or a fake smile. He would offer me a Honda Accord! Damn. Oh, that's rough, buddy. But yeah, I like the idea of playing around with this, where it is... I like the idea that this is currently portraying with him. Again, there's elements of his attire that, like, make you feel... Again, him having, like, shoulder armor alone, like, it creates the query of, like, why have you added shoulder armor? Realistically, the short answer is, I think it looks fucking cool. That is normally how these designs work. However, to justify the argument, he probably found a rationale for it at one point. He probably had more armor on him at one stage. He probably had less armor on him at some stage. It's the same with the boots argument, right? It's like the boots look like traveling boots, but they look fancy traveling boots. So he probably gets the boots done up, like, fairly regularly to, like, make sure that they're nice quality and, all that. Like, he's like, I'm gonna go on a trip. I need to make sure my boots are a good standard, and then I'll leave. Then when I get to the nucleus, I'll get them done up again. To be fair, I wouldn't put it past him that he's got, like, the magic to instantly repair them back to, like, a good standard. And he's just like, no, I'd still go and hire someone to do it. That's the point. I want to stress, I want this character to feel like the being that has, like, a bullshit amount of magic, but he just doesn't use it. Because it's like, well, that's not... It's just a thing I can do. Right? Let's not do easy mode, yeah. Like, it's, if I'm gonna fight you at your level, because that's more interesting. Could I end this fight instantaneously, like, by clicking my fingers and you're vaporized? Sure, but like... I'll make the effort to learn how to do everything, but I'm not gonna do it. Again, it's like, I could repair the shoes, but like, I need a cobbler is probably the best place to go. That's why I want his outfit to look so, like, excessively tidy in a sense, right? Is I want him to feel like someone that puts a lot of effort into that, like, image that he's portraying out. On the baseline. But God knows he doesn't need to. And it's a character that probably also, like, is that I don't want to fight, I'm going to avoid the fight up until the absolutely last moment I have to. And will try and squeeze out as well as much as he can from that scenario to benefit him. Admittedly. But, you know, that's just, you gotta look out for yourself. No one else is gonna. I don't know. We've given this character so much more lore than I expected to while drawing it. And it just goes to show, like, how much this design is feeling like the correct way to go. It's like all of this is just flowing so nicely with him. Like we said earlier, the charm of the character also comes from that idea that it's like, this character probably goes around and gets called a demon, or an angel, or a god, or a devil, or whatever. Like, probably all the fucking time. That's why, like I say, it's... I wouldn't even say that he doesn't have, like, a more monstrous form. Totally not hinting at something I want to do. But, like, I wouldn't say, like, put that past him. But it's like... He doesn't... give a shit about these things. Again, titles or explanatives are not necessary. The only thing he gives a shit about is that it's Malith. And that is exactly how I like to think. I mean, that's why, like, there's random nicknames y'all give me from time to time, and I'm like, haha, that's funny. And I let it go through. And I'm like, yeah. It's that. Exactly that. I mean, Orphan Maker's a great example, right? It's Malith, the Orphan Maker. Thank God I'm not wanting to put any of that into this design so far. Also, yes, no, this guy definitely owns an orphanage. I mean, no, that's not canon. We're not putting that in the canon yet. I like it, though. I'm happy with how this design has ended up so far. The problem is, I don't know what else I would do to the design. I'm kind of stuck on that right now. Where it's like, is there anything I would like to change? Is there anything I'm not happy with quite? Like the hair, I'm still a bit touch and go with, but I think that's just partly because we're in the stage where we're just drawing the hair very basically. I actually still stand by, I think the outfit's come out a lot better than I intended. Oh, should I explain something about the outfit that I think is kind of fascinating? So I don't know if it became obvious because the coloring of this like coattail stuff is like the wings, but it is actually just wings. There's a reason why like it has this come down. There's this little bit here, and then the rest of it just colors out to the rest. This is supposed to just be like more wings coming down. Kind of very much bird-like in that sense, right? It's like a tail. Maybe the horns will pop out a bit more later. They blend a little bit. To be fair as well, like, we're also doing the basic version of the character and not attributing, like, the heavy horns that come into it as well, right? So I assume that's probably also going to do some pop work with it. But I agree that yes, the coloring is still currently definitely off at this stage. I would like the horns to be a little bit more obvious. They'll need to probably have a bit of a shine to them. The hair's going to probably have to get lightened out a little bit in some spots. But that's also going to happen with just adding light to it, right? Like letting light strikes, and just general lighting effects. Those will probably help differentiate the things. Doesn't feel too in my face. Yeah, like it's... I don't think there's any things that are like, I look at this and I'm like, that's wrong, which is good. But it is like, I like the idea of playing around with the design more, still. Not sure. Does it feel too busy? That's the other thing as well. So I talked to, again, going back to the symmetry discussion. The reason why I want to stress about the symmetry helps reduce clutter a lot of the time. So what do I mean by that is, like, if we just actually go pull up Iron Mouse for a moment. And I mean this with, like, being very careful how I say this potentially. None of what I'm saying is negative. This is a design, like, system, right? This is a design argument we're making right now. But if we look at some of her more, like, recent designs, let's use the Cyber mouse as an example, right? Open image, new tab. This design is incredibly cluttered. Oh wow, that's really tiny image. Okay. There we go, it's a bit better to look at like that, right? So it's incredibly cluttered, and it's partly because it's not symmetrical. And that's an intention, right? And it makes it look good and interesting. It creates a lot of things going on. Whereas if we look at this outfit is extremely sleek. Why is it so sleek? Because it is highly symmetrical. Would I call this design simplistic? No. And there's not like an excessive amount of things going on. But it's because they're cleanly on all sides and consistent, it comes off less busy and much nicer. Can go to much older version of Iron Mouse's model. Again, same argument. Most of the model seems very simple. Partly because, outside of like these little hearts on this sleeve here, the top shirt thing is symmetrical. It's when you start getting down to here, and it's cool details. I fucking love them. But that's the point, is there's that going on. It's good to add some discrepancy, some difference, which we have kind of in a sense with the cane alone. If we look at that. Now, could I potentially add some more stuff that makes the sides slightly different? I don't think I need to, because we've got the belt. We've got fucking Hercules' belt do that, right? The belt adds a little bit of dissymmetry that helps break up the design in a nice, calm way. Could I add like one or two maybe like pins or badges or something like that to help detract from that like we often see? Sure, I could do that. Maybe I make a symbol on one side of the armor shoulders that's not apparent on the other side. Stuff like that, I think, wouldn't go amiss. An earring on one side, a thing on, like, an extra little, like, I don't know, something on a wing that's on one side and not on the other. Simple stuff like that will probably do all I would want to do. With the base design. This is the stress that we're making with this. Do I want to one-winged angel design this character at some point? Or, like, dragon wings, or like one dragon wing, one like feathered wing, like these sorts of things? Fuck yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat at some point. But for the base design, I want to have it relatively simple, because I would prefer to have a design I can always come back to. Then I can go above and beyond in a different direction with. Do I want to do like a Super Sentai outfit with this? Fuck yeah, that'd be fucking hysterical. Would I want to do like an outfit design for a lot of things? Yeah, I'd love to. Would I make updates to the base design eventually? Probably. But the point is, for now, we're trying to find the foundation for what we want to design from. And this is kind of there for me. It gives me, like, soft Sebastian Michaelis for, like, energy. A little bit. With, like, the design of the outfit and the wings and the way that feels. But then it feels like I'm less hiding the fact of what I am as well. Then it's also got, like, the busyness, the, like, I go around places that we talked about earlier. Like, I really like him having boots like this. I really like this cane staff thing that he has. I like that this belt also kind of indicates almost like a travel-esque element to it all. There's so much things. Like, again, I'm going through a lot of discussion right now that is welcome to how design brain work. This is why I don't... Like, I design a lot of things I design off stream, because there's so much going on. There's so much attention that needs to be drawn. And there's a reason why, instead of doing this sort of stuff normally, I just draw these. Anyway. Yeah, that was, again, to those that weren't here earlier, that was my warm-up drawing I did before stream this morning. That I did, like, over the space of, like, 5 minutes. I quickly sketched that up. Again, you gotta do your warm-up drawings before stream, right? It's, I don't know if I want to do anything with it. I do a lot of those. It's a good sketch. I might do something with it. Maybe it's a good melody, Project Melody sketch. I do love that it's just like, what does Malith draw? He draws his own VTuber, and then he draws pornography. Yep. I'm an incredibly diverse artist. I have many different ideas. You have two wolves inside of you. Your OC and pornography drawer. God damn it. One is horny and the other is, quotation marks, horny. Exactly. It's horny for money. To be fair, like, I feel like I could probably keep going with this drawing. I think it has a little bit of promise. I have the feeling that I have to do something pretty illicit with it, though. That's the problem, right? Maybe you'll see that over on the other Twitter that is definitely not my other art Twitter. Oh, no, I saw another fucking thing about, was it Shy Lily's other Twitter account? That's definitely not her. I love that, like, it's literally just explained as, no, that's not my account. I would never, but they've got really good taste. No, I would never. Anyway. I do love that though. But no, it's genuinely like, that's not my account, but they've got really good taste. It's just exactly how I encapsulated in my brain. It's like, that other account, that's not my Twitter account, but that artist is definitely putting in the effort and trying to get better. And I do like some of their hentai they draw. fact, what has... But yeah, what has that other account been up to? I think the last thing they posted was Malith pornography. I don't post... that account doesn't post often enough, like, I'll be honest. Especially knowing there's other stuff that that person may or may not be doing, right? Yeah, no, the last one was the lewd Malith. So then the skin color was too pasty with that one. It looks like a... Yeah, I feel like I could have gone a tone up a little bit with it. Anyway. Alright. What do I want to do? Do I want to start working on the other poses yet? Not really, because we're really late in the stream. I feel like it's just kind of chill out for like maybe half an hour. Just vibe out. Think more on the design. What else do I want to do with them? It's a hard thing to do because, like, it's basically... How do you put it, right? I'm trying to design something that I'm going to brand myself with, right? Like, this is my branding. This is what I want the rest of the world to see, right? Hey, Zarek, how's it going? So it becomes a hard query of how do you design that? How will you know it's reached done? Yeah, that's the big thing as well. Because I acknowledge myself, I know I can't spend forever keep, like, iterating and designing on this idea. and playing around with it, because the longer I take doing that, the less likely it's going to be done in a reasonable amount of time. That's why there's a part of me that's like, just accept that this is what you're working with. But like, I don't... It's the mix of, I know I can't make the perfect thing, but also, I don't want to settle for anything less than perfection, right? It's those two conflicting ideas that's keeping this design from getting ever finalized. We went through like the chibi model as a little play around with the idea of learning about VTubing, like the VTuber model process, like what needs to be done, or from the transition process between Clip Studio and the software to start like actually rigging it. And we learn there's a lot more to it than I was initially prepared for, which is exactly the case. I didn't look up as many tutorials as I probably should have, and it's the reason why I've kind of stopped working on that little funny model, because I'm like, while it would be fun to finish and get it going, I would prefer to step my game up and work on that as like a solid task. It's kind of also why I've stepped back from doing the game development on streams, while it's also because I do more game development off stream in the same amount of time span than I do on stream. It is also to give more attention to working on this specific thing. Right. So it is the forever question of, when is it done? When are you happy with what you've got? I don't think I'll ever truly be happy with it. I'll never reach that point of, yes, this is perfect. But nonetheless, an acknowledgement is to be made here of like, I think this is looking decent. I think we can work with this idea in mind. I'll obviously, again, I'll just pulling up the image for it. I will use like all three of these poses to get like an idea done with the model. I'll probably do some like facial stuff as well to like get an idea of what the faces should look like. And then start developing an actual model based on that. It doesn't help as well, and I'm gonna, again, this is one of those callouts that I'm sure everyone has had this issue. But like, I follow a lot of VTubers and a lot of VTube related stuff on my on Twitter, right? And one of the things I want to point at is how hard it is when you see someone that's so much better than you'll ever be. Right? I follow a specific artisan rigger. I'll see if I can find them quickly. That they posted like a universal model, right? Like it's a model that you can edit to kind of be your own in a lot of ways. And they're the rigger that's done a lot of like, I think they've done a lot of Iron Mouse, they've done a lot of like really top-end, high-quality products. And this model hurt me a little bit internally. Because it is one of those things I look at and I'm like, I don't know how I would ever be able to accomplish that. Oh yeah, no, it's literally my first follow on the Twitter. That's funny. But also, hey Matthew. So Twin Tails. Twin Tails is a phenomenal VTuber and also rigger and modeler. And they did they've done a lot of stuff. I want to see if I can find the part that they posted. this. So this is the custom model that anyone can use, and it is designed with the intention that it has, like, multiple shapings and designs. Like, you can toggle, like, quickly just looking at these images will give you an idea. You can toggle it between all of this. You can change its size, you can change a lot of the things like that. All of this, all of these details can be changed, and it still tracks like this. Like, this is the pain of stuff like Twitter sometimes. Whereas you see someone that's so incredibly good and talented, and you get partly demoralized. And I can only give praise to Twin Tails, and it just hurts me personally, because I'm like, fuck, I wish I could be better. Which is good and bad. Right, it's good and bad. It's good and bad. It's the competitive streak maybe gets harbored, and it's like, yeah, I can do better. I want to do better. I want to be able to do stuff like that. But then also, I'm gonna be honest, this is a person that lives and breathes this shit. They are incredibly skilled, and yeah. So yeah, no, massive impressiveness from, like, this shit. And, like, the fact is, all of the stuff you're seeing here, for example, I think this is the custom model as well. Like, almost all of this looks like it's the custom model. Which goes to show how much work must have gone into that. Twin Tails is awesome, by the way. Like, fully an incredible creator. And is what I look up to when it comes to VTubing, like, that stuff. So yeah, no. Always gotta love that little bit of anxiety, right? I'll never be born 60 years ago. Alright, well, what do you mean by that? Of course, Outer Wild songs start playing here. Ah yes, the Outer Wild song is just started playing. No, I know what you mean though. That is the only OST we have been listening to all day so far. I've literally had to start it again and put it on replay. I fucking love the music at the moment. I'm feeling it. But yeah, do you want anxiety? Fucking Outer Wilds now. That'll give you anxiety. Yeah. No, so I feel like I'm pretty happy with this being a raw design idea. It feels like everyone else has been doing the same thing as me, but has been doing it for 60 years. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I know what you mean though. Yes, no, again, like, welcome to Y as well. Like, I have the problem with art where I was really, really good. I stopped doing art for decades, and then I started getting, like, I do art from time to time, and during that time, admittedly, but, like, very rarely. and then I come back into art, and I'm like, man, my shit's nowhere near as good as it should be. And it's like, it's probably now, some of my shit that I do is better than what I did before, right? But nonetheless, the fact that there is such a gap in time of progression, there should have, like, I would dread to think what happens if I actually had stuck with art. Now, not including any of the anxiety or issues like that, just talking about the potential skill, right? God damn. I'll say before I go, don't focus on the mountain, just on the bit of, on the mountain. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, right? Like, again, I want to stress, while I'm making this complaint, again, I fully acknowledge, like, I shouldn't be making these complaints. These complaints are dumb. They're fucking stupid. I should get over it. And I need to just do what I am capable of doing and learn how to improve, because how else am I going to get to the point where I could look up, like, I'm not looking up to someone that's so incredibly much more skilled than I, and instead look at them in eye-to-eye level. How do you do that? Stop looking up at them all the fucking time, and you spend time going, like, how did they do this? And now analyze each bit of the mountain so you can climb up there. Focus on what you need to do and remind yourself of the endpoint from time to time. It's just, yeah, no, occasionally, ouch, it hurts. But yeah, no, catch you later, Matthew. To be fair, I'm going to probably be finishing up soon as well. Like I said, this last, like, half hour kind of section of the stream, I'm just going to be kind of yapping, talking about stuff that just came up in my mind. So I wanted to bring that up because I got reminded of it yesterday, I think. I think that's when that tweet, I saw that. But it's one of those things that, like, I think pretty much everyone feels something along these lines, right? Like, the idea that they look at someone in particular that is so much more skilled and talented than them, and it's like, how am I supposed to compete? And it sucks. Sometimes it is too demoralizing that it just puts you down too far. I have those days. I'm having those days at the moment, admittedly. Like I said, I'm probably in a bit more of a mental dip than I would like to admit to myself. But at the same time, I'm making strides. I'm making efforts, right? Don't have to look far. It's been my life from middle school until, like, after college. Yeah, no, again, I'm pretty sure everyone's had that sort of shit all the time. Like, that's why I say, like, I don't think any of the stuff I'm talking about is, like, unique to me by a long shot. I think almost everyone's come across this sort of shit in their time. And it's both good and bad, right? It's how you take it. Do you use it as a motivator to get better, or do you let it crush you, right? It crushes me some days, it motivates me others. Most of the time it's motivation. Definitely, like I said, at the moment, it's a bit of the crush, right? I have my ups, I have my downs. Today, most of this week has been pretty down for me, admittedly. Turns out, fucking going to hospital and, like, having your life get fucked around with, really does that to you. Who would have guessed? Not I. Anyway, I haven't even told you guys some of the worst shit that happened about all of that. I refuse to, because then it's going to become pity party argument. I don't like that. So yeah. I am looking forward to taking a day off soon, though, because I don't think we've got RV scheduled this week. I don't know. I haven't double checked with Yawa and the group. Probably should double check. I have to, for better or worse, just realize I'm never becoming my brother and just have to live being compared to better people the rest of my life. Head down and do my own thing, and I can judge me. I mean, that's a very solid way of looking at it, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I fully respect that. And I fully understand it. I mean, like I've said before, like I came from a household with just my mother basically berating me, going like, you need to be better, you need to be better, like, it's not good when I can say, like, I understand an Asian household better than a Western household. It's like, oh, you didn't get a perfect score, you're a fucking disappointment. Study more. It's like, fuck. Alright. Yeah. So, in a sense, like, I get where you're coming from with that, Jin. Not obviously directly, I don't have, a sibling that I was compared to. Thank God for that. I feel like that would just cause anxiety that I couldn't imagine. You have the same upbringing as your brother, why are you worse? I would punch someone if I heard that, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. That's fucking bullshit. Nah, fuck that. You do not deserve that. That's not how that works. You're your own individual, you have your own strengths, your own weaknesses. Are you able to do the same things as the person next to you, regardless of if they're your sibling or not? No. You are different. You are capable of doing your own things. You're probably fucking far better at some things than your brother. May not be obvious, but, you know. And I want to stress, I do kind of feel bad for your brother as well, because it's clearly golden child energy, not actually that fun to be on the receiving end of. Because now that's also got anxiety. Again, it's one of those ones where, like, I can hate when people compare, like, siblings or relatives or like that, because it's just not great for anyone. Because now you're putting, like, stress on the person you're comparing them up to, and then you're being awful to the person you're comparing down to. It's like, nah, just don't fucking do it. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's fair to go to your child and go, you're being a fucking dumbass, right? But, like, not compare them. I'm here at chilling for my parasocial creator. No, I feel that. Exactly, as God intended. Look, as long as I don't ever see a video of you, Jin, like, getting, like, filmed from the outside door, just, like, watching a stream and screaming, please, please say my name, please, like that. You know the clip I'm thinking of, right? Like, it's fucking that's what I'm like, that's not parasocial, that's creepy as shit. That shit will always concern me. I'll always, like, shit on that. Because it's like, I know people like that. I have hung out with people like that for things where it's like, they are so down bad, they are like, please, seek help. But realistically, not many people are like that at all. Like, Jesus. I live my life holding the shittle. Yeah. Please. That's the one thing as well that I feel like I've been very lucky with personally most of my life is outside of, because since I've been, like, away from home for so much of my life now, I feel lucky that I don't think most of my life I've ever had to hide things. I've never felt like I needed to. Like, fuck, if you enter my room, we've shown it before, but like, if you enter my room now, you'd go, that's magic cards, that's packs of magic stuff, that's computer shit, that's anime things, there's a fucking body pillow. Like, I don't hide shit. My TV, you can walk past my room. Like, fuck, if I don't have my curtains closed for my, like, door for my room, the very front of my room, which I do purely while I'm streaming for, like, light reasons. I'm actually not kidding on that, by the way. But if I have those open, you can see what's going on my computer. You can very easily see. In fact, you would see most of the time, like, you can 100% see what's happening on my second monitor. My first monitor, you might need to put a little bit of effort into. But I leave that shit open. Noxie has come in when I am drawing pornography, and I've just gone like, hey, you like that? Like, I'll look at her dead in the eye and like, what do you think? Like, fuck, I've been on Discord talking with friends, and I'll just stream me drawing some pornographic stuff. And the best part is, I stress this, the best part is some of my friends have gone like, oh, those lines don't look quite right there, because like, that's not how like the body shaping would work. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, you got a point. And like, we're just sitting there like going, yes, how do we make this more pornographic as well? I actually did have that though. I did have one time where I was sitting there drawing, so I was like, isn't that like too tame? And I'm like, are you fucking serious? It's a character in a bikini. It's like, yeah, but you can show more like nip. It's like, I don't know what to do here anymore, eh? I'm very lucky for that, but that is also like, I'm in the adult, like much more into the adult world. I've lived, especially now, basically alone. So it's kind of, yeah, that it happens when you tend to live like that. I'd be perfectly honest, like, this is kind of how I want to live. I'd probably want like one more room and then obviously a kitchen space, but like, this is fine. I'm not jealous, it's just my way of living as well. Yeah. That's why I say, like, I feel like I've been lucky for the fact that I've not had to deal with that, but I'm not saying, like, I want to stress coming back to the point, I'm not saying I'm better or worse because of that. I'm just, like, me personally, how I see that, I feel more unhappy not being able to, live more openly. But that's just because very clearly that's how I am, right? Like, we've seen very much on the streams, I'm not someone to be very reserved. I tend to talk very openly. I'm a very open book. I tell everything. I had never drawn before. I never talked to that man. We've never been friends. Anyway, getting away from the potentially very political joke. But like that idea, like I consider myself fairly open and stuff. High polar opposite of me. Yeah, and that's nothing wrong. Like, I know people that are very reserved, and I'm like, that's fair. I also know people that are extremely reserved, but when talking with either me, because I'm a good friend of theirs, or like very specifically their best friends and stuff, they'll be very open with them. It's very different then. And like, that's great. Everyone is different. Surprisingly, you'd have never fucking guessed it, but everyone is different. I don't know, man. That's not what the internet's told me. I've been told that I'm part of a group of some kind, and that group is wrong. Or right, or whatever. I don't care. I'm me, and me is I, and I is fucking crying. Yeah. That's great. And that's actually the charm I have with the internet, is people like go online and find other people that are like-minded like themselves, but also find people that aren't and can still be friends with them. It's perfectly fine to find people you disagree with. In fact, it's great to find people you disagree with if you can do so constructively and not just hurl obscenities at each other. I'm looking at you, Twitter. I'm looking at you. I mean, hell, Yawa raiding me has changed a lot of also how, like, I interact with VTubers and other people in the sphere, right? Is I kind of was like, I'm in my own little bubble, I'm very alone, I'm probably gonna stay that way forever. And then Yawa raided me, and then I'm like, okay, I'll be social, I'll interact with people. And then I, like, got invited to collabs, and I'm like, this shit's fun. What's wrong with me? Why was I, like, trying to be so reserved? Why was I trying to be so, like, all this? And it's because I was like, I was just scared. I'll be honest. Again, I'm the perfect example of, like, I'm an introvert by nature. I'm not gonna make, like, the first step to interacting with other people like that. And it's also why, like, when I deal with really high introverts as well, we just tend to kind of, like, brush past each other very, infrequently. But, like, having an outgoing-esque attitude to things or personality, like Yawa has, I'm going to at least say, an outgoing perspective towards, like, some of this networking and shit. Yawa's awesome. I am very proud to be able to say I know Yawa. I'm very happy that I've been able to do stuff like the collabs with, like, the VR, RVD stuff, like that. I cannot stress enough, that has been a highlight to me a lot. Like, I absolutely love whenever I see one of those shorts posted, because I'm like, I get to watch it again and have fun and remind myself how, like, it was really good. I also have realized how much I fucking laugh in those shorts. Holy shit. God, I am a loud person. But I like that. It's great. It does remind me I do need to probably go look at my studio and go and click on the things. But yeah, I think I'm gonna probably finish up here. So let's go raid Yawa. Speaking of, let's set that all up. Playing Monster Hunter today. I know Yawa put up a vote. Glad it's fun to see that, like, people are like, no, we want Monster Hunter. Give that. I think Yawa probably is not going for much longer though. Probably like another hour based on experience. I love, by the way, can I say, when does Yawa schedule their streams to start? I'm just curious. Is that known? Because, like, I feel like it's like 9 AM for me, but, like, Yawa's been starting later than that, and I find it really funny. I'm kind of shutting down as well. Yeah, like, I feel like I need to go lie down. That's kind of why I didn't do much more than this. The whole time. Because I'm just tired today, and I fully acknowledge it. Alright. So, let's start with the raid. So, first of all, though, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. You're awesome. Stay awesome, and I hope to see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.